Hi, my beautiful people. I hope you're all having an amazing day. I am happy to finally be back. So if you've noticed, I'm a week late in posting a video or an episode. I was really sick last week. I'll spare you the details, but it was just 5-6 days just out of commission. Awful, terrible, couldn't do anything. Completely just threw me off of everything that I had going on. So I want to talk about that a little bit today. I feel like we're all human, and sometimes things happen that kind of just throw us off course, or you know, we start to slack in certain ways, whether it's school or work, or we slip on a project and we just, you know, have to put it on the back burner for whatever reason. Sometimes that does lead us to kind of feel bad about ourselves or bad for other people. It makes us feel like we're not we're not enough, you know, we're not taking care of responsibility. So I kind of did go through that. So I've mentioned before in other episodes kind of a little bit of my upbringing, growing up, you know, really overweight and just having really low self-esteem, going through really severe depression, and then finally finding myself through dance and finding my passion, finding happiness. But that does not mean that everything is all rainbows and butterflies all the time. It's very hard to change, and it's very hard to stay on track sometimes, and that's through no fault of our own. So because I was sick, I was slacking in a lot of ways. I didn't go to work all week last week, and then you know, I had some shows coming up I had to cancel. I had a lot of things that I had to let go of because of it, and it wasn't my fault. I was sick. But because of the mentality that I've had growing up, I started to feel bad for myself. I started to kind of get in my head and ask those questions. Can I really do this? Can I stay focused? Now I feel like a whole week has passed and I've done nothing. Silly when you think about it, right? Because I was sick. People got sick. But yeah, I got in my head really badly, and I started to feel a lack of motivation. And that's where I started to get concerned and a little scared, because growing up with depression and feeling like you're not enough, it's easy to slip back into that. So I really had to pull back and remind myself of how far I've come, and tell myself that I'm only human and I'm not going to be all the time perfect and taking care of everything, and it's not always going to be like that. There are going to be moments where I'm going to have to, you know, let things go, or just realize that life happens. So that lack of motivation is something that I want to address, not only for myself, because I do get concerned when it keeps happening. Not that it's happened that many times recently, but you know, once or twice already this year, 6 months into 2017, I've seen it happen, and it has surfaced. So I know that that has happened and does happen to a lot of people out there. So A, you're not alone. B, get back on track as soon as you can. So realize that you're going through that moment of, I can't do this, forget it, I'm giving up on everything. Pull yourself back, recognize it, and then kind of just be like, no, that's not how I'm going to handle this. Easier said than done, but that's what I had to do. I started to work on my motivation, and you know, reminding myself of why I do what I do and why I take on all these things and what my main goal is. Always go back to your mission, right? I think we all have a mission. No matter what you do, there's a meaning behind it. There's something that you're trying to accomplish and achieve by the things that you do. So I really started to think about all those things. I did a little bit of meditation, and I just started to think of ways to get back on track as soon as possible. So, sorry, my phone said it was on low battery. I didn't know you were on low battery. So yeah, I'm gonna make it short and sweet. I am gonna do another episode this week, I think, because I do owe you guys one. And I do wanna stay on track with what I wanted to speak about. I just had to address the awful week I had, let you guys know, you know, what happened and why I didn't post or have a video episode for last week. If anybody else is out there and sick, you feel better, please. It was awful, it was terrible. Sorry, my brain sometimes goes all over the place. Anyway, I'm feeling so much better. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be highly motivated again. And as I mentioned before, so I just really started to meditate, to think about why I do what I do, to go back to the roots of why I started doing all the work that I'm doing, and it did help me get back on track. So again, if any of you are feeling that lack of motivation, stick it out. You're not alone. It happens. You're still, you know, able to do the great things that you're doing. It's just, you know, 1 day, 2 days, a week does make you feel like you're being thrown off, but it doesn't have to stay that way. So that's it for now. I'm gonna go charge my phone and I will be back soon. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, a wonderful rest of the week, and hopefully I will be back shortly with some other interesting topics. And that's it. So bye-bye for now. Mwah.
And there's nothing I could say nicer about anybody. As long as I've known Omyra, like over 10 years, I was her first, these next two dancers, I was their first teacher. Omyra never says anything bad about anybody. Never. As long as I've known her, she has always positive. She's just a very special lady. That's all I can say. Give Omyra a big plus she can dance.